Tommy! My hero, Tommy Robinson. I think we have a video. I haven't seen the video, but I think all being well, technology going. Technology going, we'll see Tommy on the video. Okay. Let's give Tommy a big hand just in case he arrives.
So, I'm a refugee.
Oh, Tommy!
I wish I could have been there today with you in person, but to demonstrate and shine a light on the failures of our government to not only protect young vulnerable children from predominantly Pakistani Muslim child rape gangs, but also to highlight our government's failure to deport these child raping monsters from our shores. I believe that any child raping monster, if convicted, and they happen to have dual nationalities, which all of these men had, then every one of them should have their British citizenship revoked. After serving a substantial time in prison with other dirty nonce wrong-uns, they must be deported to their country of origin. No question about it, it has to happen. It's a total failure that these men are still walking the streets of our country, let alone the same city that they raped these young children in. Three dirty, disgusting child raping monsters, Abdul Rauf, Adil Khan and Abdul Aziz, were convicted of child sexual exploitation. They were part of an organised gang that preyed upon vulnerable English children. The youngest was only 13 years of age. These men were involved in a gang that drugged and raped minors. And what is sickening to me is the short amount of time that they spent behind bars. These monsters destroyed young lives. Their victims carry physical, emotional and psychological scars for the rest of their lives. These men's sentences range from 6 to 9 years. 6 to 9 years for destroying the lives of English children. For the rest of their life they're damaged and they get 6 to 9 years. They get out halfway through that sentence on good behaviour. Some of them serving 3 years. 3 years. It's soul destroying. It's a total disgrace and outrage to our country. There was a glimmer of justice when Theresa May, who was the Home Secretary at the time, said that these men would be deported once they've served their sentences. Guess what? That didn't happen. Tell me, how is there justice for these children whose lives have been destroyed? Not only do they not serve the full sentences given to them, but they're out walking the streets of England as free men. The victims of these men happened to bump into him. I believe it was an Asda. One of the victims, imagine walking down the street after this monster's destroyed your life, and then you bump into him in Asda after seeing on national news that he's going to be deported. 2 years later, you bump into him in Asda. Just take a second to try to put yourself in that victim's shoes. You were raped, you're beaten, you're prostituted, you're abused by these men as a child. These men are finally sent to prison, then they're let out early, then rather than being deported as promised, they're free to roam and do as they wish. And then you bump into them walking in your hometown. Can you imagine how horrified, how scared these vulnerable girls would feel experiencing that? It's not right. It's just not. It's wrong on every single level. There's no one, even our opposition, who are watching this can disagree with it. These young girls have been let down, they've been ignored, they've been discarded by the system and the institutions that are supposed to protect them. Clearly, their lives don't matter, and they didn't matter when they were abused, and they don't matter now. Things have to change. They must change. We keep hearing it from every single Home Secretary. You heard from Theresa May, Sajid Javid. Prem Patel will probably give the same mouth service, but do nothing. So Theresa May kicked it all off. She stripped these men of their British citizenship. Sounded like a great idea. These men don't hold British values. They don't care for British children. So why should they have the honour and privilege of British citizenship? They don't hold British values. They do not belong here. Former Home Secretary Amber Rudd and Sajid Javid carried on with the deportation process for these child raping monsters. After a number of failed human rights appeals, the courts made it very clear these men could be legally deported. They should be deported. That was in 2018. 2 years later, these men are still living free and probably walking the streets of Rochdale. We're probably paying for every single one of their bills. We're housing them, feeding them and clothing them. in our country when they should have been deported 2 years ago. When they bump into more of their victims, it's only a matter of time. Look how many children they raped in that town. It's only a matter of time. Institutional and systematic failures to protect children from child raping Muslim gangs. The very same institutions have failed to deport these scumbags 2 years after a legal conclusion has been reached. Why in God's name are these men still walking free in our country? Why? Because our feckless political and judicial elites have not got rid of them. That's why. Lord Pearson, a lonely voice in the House of Lords, questioned why these men have not been deported. The Home Office reply was that since 2010 they've removed more than 52,000 foreign offenders. Sounds good, doesn't it? But it doesn't address the question that Lord Pearson asked. He put to them, he asked them, why have these three men, why have they not been deported? The child rapists, why have the men from Rochdale not been deported? They should have been gone at least 2 years ago. They're still here. The fact is we cannot trust the systems or the institutions that are supposed to protect young children and then supposed to meet our justice to those who break our laws. We cannot have foreign child raping monsters walking our streets. They must be deported now. Perhaps they should be retried in their own countries. Who knows, maybe they get a fair justice there. I'm pretty sure in some cases a death sentence is still appropriate for child rape, and life imprisonment means life imprisonment, not 6 to 9 years, with a view to parole, getting out on early release halfway through your sentence. Our country's become a joke. It's a laughing stock to the world, and it's at our expense of our vulnerable children. This stupidity, this feckless treading on eggshells for fear of being branded as racist has to stop. Laws have to change and these monsters have to go. There's no debate about this. There is no moral or legal argument to keep these scumbags in our country. Deporting these men isn't a partisan political issue. The likes of Andy Burnham, the Labour Mayor of Manchester, Bev Hughes, the Labour Deputy Mayor of Manchester, Tony Lloyd, Labour's MP for Rochdale, all of these people, Tory MP after Tory MP, they've all gone on record calling for the deportation of Abdul Rauf, Adil Khan and Abdul Aziz. Yet the Home Office has still not managed to get rid of these men. Why not? Maybe it's because there's a deep bureaucratic shadow state pulling the strings. Consider this as an example. Remember the grooming gang report that was started by Sajid Javid? Well, the bureaucrats in the Home Office didn't want to release that report either. In fact, they said they would not release it. They said to Priti Patel. Priti Patel's on record saying that they blocked her. Our friends and our colleagues at Hearts of Oak set up a petition to pressure the government to release that report. Over 100,000 people signed that petition, forcing the government to have to discuss this issue. Now it seems they will. It took a lot of pressure to make these faceless bureaucrats reconsider their decision. We need to be angry. We need to be outraged. We need to be vocal, and we need to constantly pressure the government into taking action. If we don't, then we're failing the victims of grooming gangs. I don't want to fail victims of child rapists. Our friends and our colleagues at Hearts of Oak have also taken legal action against the Home Office, demanding these scumbags are deported and sent back to Pakistan. We don't want them here. The British public don't want them here. The victims don't want them here. So let's make sure we keep up this pressure through peaceful demonstrations, through activism, through legal recourse, and hold our government to account. For more than 40 years, children in the UK have been groomed, pimped, abused, raped, and murdered by the predominantly Muslim child rape gangs. It has to stop. And unfortunately, the only way we get to address this issue is by being proactive and exert relentless pressure on our government to deal with these scumbags once and for all. To coin a phrase, silence is violence. I know every single one of you have travelled here today. I wish I could have been here. Under different circumstances, I would have been there. But just to reiterate, I'll be back in the country in a number of weeks. I'll be back fighting with every single one of you. Keep up the fight. Keep flying the flag. Next generation.
Tommy!
Yes.
1, 2. Oops. Well, actually, the sun in Spain and Gibraltar is doing no harm at all. He's enjoying himself as articulate as ever. Get right to the point, doesn't he, Tommy? Fantastic guy. What a hero. Okay, now it's my my privilege and my honour to introduce you Danny Roscoe. Danny, give a big hand to Danny. I'm
can put that in there because my hands are a bit shaky. But I want to start, I'm following Tommy, so I just want to say, like, we should all support him, stand in solidarity. We've clapped for the carers over this COVID stuff, we've clapped for the NHS. Come on, show our support, give a clap for Tommy. We're really supporting you, mate. Right, there's not a lot more I can say about the three grooming gang of Rochdale. It's disgusting. But prt2 over there has got hostile environment policy, which means that they can be deported. So why are they not doing it? And the only one thing I want to say about the deportation is there's a fella called Kawayu Adeboli. He's a stockbroker. He did 7 years in jail for basically hiding money. He got deported to Ghana, but he's never been there. So they'd rather deport someone hiding the money than protect our children. Throughout history, paedophiles have been in there and they've been hiding. They've been hiding behind the privilege that they have and they feel that they've got. In 1984, there was a dossier given to that parliament. Theresa May gives some names to the police, but then shredded the dossier. They ain't the Freemasons. They're a secret society of paedophiles, and they're hiding in there. But today I'm going to make a declaration, because we can't stand for that no more. Today is the day of a new era, and we're going to start taking this country back. And the only way I can see this, is through politics. Spain, Germany. Sorry, I've gone a bit too far there. Oh, I've lost it now. Oh, man.
Come on, Danny!
Right, you know what?
You can do it!
Do you know what? It's gone off script now. Right, we're standing in front of Churchill. Would Churchill have stood here and took this? Would you have let them people there stop the people getting deported when the courts have said it? When the people demand it? We need to protect our children. We need to protect them today. So today, all of us on the right, we need to come together. And I demand black and white unite. I demand they can say what they like to one group of people, but when we unite, they cannot say, oh.
Deep. And I promise you now, if you want to tackle the EU, this racist rape of children, and some lady said call it rape, I don't know where you are, but you're absolutely right. Let's call it rape, let's also call it torture and a crime against humanity, because that is what this is. And those cowards over there will do nothing. How long? How long are you going to wait? How long do you have to watch them do this to us? How long? It's been decades. And to the evil press, and you are evil, you are to blame for the fact that the people are too scared to get rid of the cowards over there. You are to blame for that. You are the reason this was covered up for years. You are rotten to the core. And with the full Britain government, you will be taught a lesson you will never forget. Never, ever, ever, ever doubt your power. If I had one wish, it would be so that the British people understand how powerful they are. Never let anyone tell you that you can't change the occupants of that building. You can and you must. You got rid of the European Union, get rid of them. It's the only chance you have. The only chance. You want to throw out child rapists? Throw out the people who allowed it to happen. Every last one of them. Shame upon shame on that house. On the other house, the House of Lords, Lord Pearson is the only one. Baroness Cox and Lord Pearson, it ends there. Every kind of corrupt liar is what occupies the greatest parliament in the world. No more. I am so tired of it. And let me tell you something about the Human Rights Act. Yes, the government occasionally takes a case to the courts. And then they wring their hands. What can we do? The judges won't let us throw them out. But you know what you do? Get rid of the Human Rights Act and bring in new laws. It's really quite simple. Scrap the Human Rights Act now. Get rid of it. It is a rapist's charter. And replace it with a constitution for the people of Great Britain. Restore our free speech. Restore our decency. And throw out the crooks and criminals, both from Rochdale and from that house of cowards across the world. Thank you very much.
Big hand there for Anne-Marie. Fantastic. Always a good speaker. Okay, lovely. Well, we're coming towards the end, and I think we now, you've all heard the issues, you've all heard about it. I think now, for a final time, that the House of Parliament over there, the Supreme Court over there, that Boris Johnson just down the road there, and Priti Patel, the Home Secretary, and the Home Office just down there, need to hear from them. You need to hear from us, okay? You need to hear from us, not from me, okay? You've heard from the speakers, you've heard from the excellent speakers, but you need to hear from us. So I'd like us all to raise our voices. It's very simple. I want us all to say together, I want us all to shout together. I want Boris Johnson to hear. He's sitting having a cup of tea or a pint or something just down the road there at the moment. He'll hear if you're loud enough, so okay? We're talking about three men. We're talking about Abdul Raf, we're talking about Abdul Aziz, we're talking about Alil Khan, and we want to deport them now. 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 I think hold on. You know what Boris Johnson's like. He may not be good at hearing these days. Don't always hear. I think we just need to raise the decibel level just a little bit louder, okay? I want him definitely to hear this, okay? And Priti Patel, wherever she is too, okay? One more time, 5 times. Deport them now, really loud. Deport them now. 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 God bless you. Thank you very much indeed. But don't go. Hearts of Oak is a free speech organisation. We believe in free speech. And it was mentioned earlier that someone who spoke actually and given an award at our launch, based Amy, has been having trouble because she, in her view, as a British citizen, one of the most powerful women in the world, in the country, is a traitor and a Nazi. Now we have a long tradition for British citizens in this country. We can be as rude as we like about our politicians, merely because most of them deserve it. But our ability to insult and say rude things about our politicians goes back for hundreds of years. And it is absolutely extraordinary that here, at the fount of democracy, the mother of parliaments, the bastion of free speech, the British citizen cannot refer to a senior, most powerful woman, one of the most powerful women in the land, as a Nazi and a traitor. Now, I don't personally happen to think that Anna Soubry is a Nazi. She may be a traitor, but I have the right to say so. But I want to introduce you to a friend of mine who's also part of Oak. You may know Jeff Wyatt. During the whole Brexit fracas, you'll have seen him walking around here in Parliament Square in a King Richard outfit with a big banner, sometimes saying Anna Soubry is a traitor. So I'm going to ask Jeff to come up here to tell us why he thought that Anna Soubry is a traitor. Then I'm going to invite him to invite us all to say together that Anna Soubry is a traitor or Anna Soubry is a Nazi, because it happens to be our right to do so, is it not? Can we not say what we like about our politicians? Are we inciting violence? No! We're simply telling our politicians what we think of them. So Jeff, come on up. Big hand for Jeff. King Richard I.
Do you know what? The truth is easy to speak. Anna Soubry really is a traitor. I don't know a word that is better better to describe an elected professional politician who for 3 years tried to overturn the democratic vote of the people? That, ladies and gentlemen, is a traitor. I got into politics because of free speech. Free speech is right at the heart of what I do. 5 years ago I joined UKIP, which was 5 years after my daughter as a teenager said to me when I was blurting out something at Newsnight on BBC Two, "Daddy, you can't say that." I turned to my daughter and I said, "Darling, we live in a free country. We can say stuff." And that was the moment when I decided to get into politics, and I joined UKIP a few years later. Free speech is at the heart of what I do. On the first week of July last year, I was on College Green with a placard that read "Tommy Robinson, political prisoner." I had 5 Metropolitan Police officers come up to me and say, "You've got to move on, son." Why? Why have I got to move on, officer? I'm not breaking any law. It turned out that the officials at the Palace of Westminster had phoned the Metropolitan Police and told them to move that bloke on with a "Tommy Robinson, political prisoner" placard. I was going nowhere.
A Nazi. Anna Soubry is a traitor. Put up your hand if you said that. Are you a proud Brit? Are you a British citizen? Do you believe in free speech? One more time. Anna Soubry is a Nazi. Anna Soubry is a traitor. There we go. We've said it. Where are you? We said it. God bless you all. Thank you all. Thank you for coming. Don't forget to sign up heartsandout.org. We really need your support. Thank you very much. Thank you to all our speakers. Thank you very much to all our stewards and to our security, all the people who put this all together. Thank you for many of you who travelled so far to be here with us. It's been fantastic. Let's make sure this message gets through to 10 Downing Street, the Home Office, to Parliament, to Supreme Court. Deport those men now. Thank you very much indeed.
On the right hand side.
Right there. Wait till he turns I've been down the pub. Let's go pub, come on. I've got rid of the cat. Hello, mate! Right there. I've got rid of that shit, didn't I? Got rid of that. What would you do with that? Oi, look, 3 super girls. Yeah, step back, ladies. Yeah, I know, ladies. Wait, stop, get. Hello. 1, 2, 3. Hang on. Catwalk. Like this, twist and step. Yes, Em's birthday, but we're not revealing how old she is today. Super girls. Oh, hello, darling. Did I mention a pub? Did somebody mention a pub? No. Oh, yes. I'm coming to the pub.
Drink it. I'll put some Prosecco in it.
I've got a can in my bag. I ain't even.
Put your can in it.
Actually, I'm kind of grateful for going. It's found a wee again.
We literally went from the pub and then we needed a wee again.
I talked about me needing a bloody wee.
Me and Emma are pissing partners.
I think I only just switched it on him, but even if even if they hear the voice, they won't see the face. So to many.
So what we just said, we won't go out.
Nothing, no shame in saying that you need a piss.
No.
Yeah, you're right.
Classy bird.
Yeah, that's real class. That
As
is,
always.
Classy M. Classy M.
That's why I've got no white stilettos on, mate. Oh, whatever.
Yeah. Look at this. What turned out to be a little walk to the pub is more like a trot out of the beginning scene of Football Factory. You know what I mean? I don't know what sort of people I've got myself involved in here, especially when there's someone like him.
You know we love you, baby.
That's a bit rude.
We
talking
love-
to
Yeah, we love you, baby.
the main
It's
Bristol
alright.
City fan.
It's pre-recorded. It's not. It's not. It's pre-recorded. It's not live or anything. So.